What do we have today? Do we have demos?
Yes. Small demos.
As demos. Dean.
I did stuff this week, so there's a demo.
Itself this week for once. Who else? Did I do something this week? I think so. Is it demoable? I don't think there's anything to demo. Topics later, then status. Oh, that's me. Hello. Status. I have the camera on, but it's not shared. Orchard one. Orchard one. Let me clear everything. Nothing has been merged, but I think there are some PRs almost ready. So nothing new in Orchard one. Orchard core. Orchard core. I will filter on the dev branch. And I should see everything I do. So it was the second. It was the second at 12. Dynamic user permission was merged. I shouldn't talk about it. Then add fieldTypeName to query schema for GraphQL. So this is also documented here. So there is a schema text area in all the queries. Nobody has never used it, but now Jasmine documented it because it's useful. If you create a query and you want to expose it as GraphQL, you can create a custom schema for GraphQL, a GraphQL schema, to explain, to define the metadata such that the clients know what they can query. And now there is a custom property called name that will contain the name of the query itself, such that when we do GraphQL, when we use GraphQL to run some dynamic queries like SQL queries or Lucene queries, we can now access them through a custom name and not the generic name, which is the name of the query in the system, because there could be conflicts between different query providers in GraphQL. For instance, the default name we use for Lucene and SQL queries is the name we pass, the custom name in the name property. But if for the content types, we also use the name of the content type. So if you have a query that is the same name as another content type, then GraphQL won't know what to query, the content type or the custom query. So Jasmine made a custom property so you can add a custom name if there is a conflict. Thank you, Jasmine. It's much better than having a convention-based name of a query that will still collide and that will break everyone's query. Antoine, dashboard new links. No idea, but there will be demos.
It was not working last week when I wanted to.
That was that.
Yeah.
The space, if you don't put a space, it doesn't work. Okay, let's see. .NET SDK in GitHub Actions, updating the SDK to use star. And it's funny because when we started using this extension, it was not supporting star. But I saw that recently, and now we can use that, so that's better. And it's good to just update automatically the minor version. There can't be any breaking change. Hopefully there won't be any breaking change in the minor version. They should not do that. It's not even a minor, right? Major, minor, what is that?
Patch.
Patch. Yeah, good. Yeah, and it's like they ship every 2 weeks a new version, so.
Like today.
Like today, yeah. Remove, but that's good. It means they're reactive on all the bugs and security issues. Rule benchmark. benchmark, what is that? Oh yes, we have some micro benchmarks in the repository, and you updated the whole benchmark.
Yeah, now that there is a multi-target framework, I launched it
On both.
with distinct. You can see the parameter
Interesting.
-- framework.
Yeah, here. So when you run the command line, you can do the dash framework. And if we look at the results on 5.0 from 700 to 4 seconds, well, evaluate is on page with JavaScript 4 microseconds with the custom rule less than 1 microsecond. Okay. And then for 3.1, 1 micro to 4. So what? Well, it's almost the same on 5.0. Let's say there is just noise because you see 3. So, well, standard deviation 0.2, which is exactly the difference between that and that. So that's good. And then on 5.0, the is homepage with rule is 701. So there is improvement in, I don't know what that thing does, but this is better in 5.0. Okay, so everything is still better in 5.0. That's good. But the big change is that before it was using that, and with links change, now it's doing that, which is expected. The actual impact on the web page might be neglectable, but that's still good to get. And also maybe in allocations. Yeah, in allocations also. So the high load, that might be important.
Yes.
Good. I assume like for each page on the blog recipe, there might be, let's say, 4 or 5 evaluations of a layer of a rule. So we might gain 20 microseconds on the latency. But 5 kilobytes of allocation. Build multi-targeting package folder. Fixing, and it's still coming. Lots of, you see, fixes on the new multi-target thing we are discovering. So far, nothing to tell us we need to switch back or not target something. Maybe just target when. That's something we could do, like default to one target framework, and then have an argument that we can choose a different one, like on the build system or an opt-in on your command line, or in Visual Studio with an environment variable or a custom setting to define what framework we want to target by default. Might be a solution to simplify everything.
I think that would be quite useful because build times have gone upwards of
we can
2-3 minutes at the moment just to do this. Which is
I talk about it with David and Jean-Thierry to define a constant, and then we define one by default. On the CI, we will build on the 2 of them, and then we can decide. Look, and actually there is a variable. It's called the target frameworks variable that is now centralized. So maybe we could just define it, force it by default. At least as long as on the CI we ensure everything still works for the 2 of them, and the code is still multi-targeting. But when we build the code, we don't need to. So this one, fix for incorrect notification when editing user. So where is that now? Authorize as the permission to manage users, or you are the user. Okay. You can see your display. You can see your information if it's about you, about yourself. Build multi-targeting version 2, version 3, or whatever. Okay. I have a question about that. jQuery 3.6.0. I merged this branch and this change in my branch this morning, and I saw something weird. Let me show you what I saw and what I didn't understand. Well, what I don't understand, and I hope now I will. What file is that? It's resources slash. So let's go there first. It's around there, and I don't see it. So in this folder, there is this one. Oh no, this is not by much. This is this one. Where are the resources there? Resource manifest? Yeah. So here, JQuery is a resource. JQuery is a resource. Okay. And we have the version 3.6.0, 3.5.1, 3.4.1. At least we have 3 versions. They all point to a different CDN version. Okay. By default, if we don't say anything, we'll get the latest, but we can still say I want the 3.5.1. But my question is about if I don't use a CDN, it says use this file, script jQuery min.js.
Okay.
You see the issue?
3.5.1 is wrong because I created the folder, but I might have forgotten to change this one.
Okay, that's not me. I was worried that, okay, because I can see here that this one is 3.4.1.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we inject a new version, we need to change the file name for the old ones to go into the folder of this version. Okay, good. So that's the.
Yeah, the folder exists. I just need to change this line.
Good. Serilog 4.0.0 updated. Ooh, big version done. Get a commentaire. Add the try catch block around SuperUser lookup for ICP migration. There was an exception during a migration with this migration, so now it won't fail. Discrepancy with the parameters that are provided. And I think Dean is working on something or did something. And at least Dean the Magnificent is currently testing the migration from RC2 to 1.0 because of things like this, just to ensure that the migration is smooth and we can find issues before release 1.0. Fix gitignore for project template files. And by the way, so many files now are ignored. Okay, good job. TypeScript update. Full text search guide, rephrasing, punctuation, and new line. Okay, updating the documentation. Good. Lot of work here. Remove culture property in site from liquid documentation.
Because it's not in the site, in the iSite anymore. And there is a specific culture.name and culture.dir liquid filter.
Okay. .NET SDK URL. Okay, what to download it? Yeah, because now it's not called .NET Core anymore, it's called .NET. Good job. Support for now helper function in SQL queries, so you can do things like this in the generic SQL language we support, and it will be mapped to whatever database we're using. Good change. Good meaning it was not easy. You have to change the grammar and navigate the abstract tree. Okay. Unused namespaces, Lucene Query syntax documentation. Okay. SR on Scribbly reader only argument. So it was Seth who did a change recently to do that on one of the pages, and then we find an issue that we needed to do that everywhere. So Antoine did that. Thank you. mkdocs update, like 2 updates in 1 week. fixes complete module multitargeting. So it's another completion of the module multitargeting, but there are more to come. Fixes KeyNotFound in LayerFilter. Yeah, so this, yeah, I need to be careful also myself. The indexer of a dictionary, if it doesn't find the key, throws an exception. So we need to be careful with that. And Jasmine found another bug this morning about that in the fluid2 branch. As I move some things from dynamic to non-dynamic, I'm using the properties dictionary, and because now it's not using the dynamic, it's not returning null, it's throwing an exception. So I have to fix that also. Tenants HostString tweaks. Less code, I like it. So because the host string provides lots of feature by default, I'm sure. Like these things. Okay, yeah. And I'm sure we do that already in some other places. So it might just be for this view, okay. Yeah. Host string is a nice little helper class in ASP.NET. Good, good. Hosted service. That's a new thing. What is a hosted service? I assume it's a service that is on the host itself and not on a tenant. So we have one instance for all the tenants shared, but I'm not sure. Is that it? I didn't see this PR. Who saw this PR?
I think JT saw it. It's just using an extension method for registration rather than the specific.
Oh, that's it. It's really.
Yeah, no change really.
Pull request. Oh yes, because it's application services. So the @singleton was an application services. Okay. Okay, yeah. Semantically, it's better. Not a huge fan of the things like this. It's good, but personally, not as a team, I'm not a huge fan because you don't know what's happening behind that. It's not. So when it's just removing an interface or a method, that might give more context to it. So I was there. Migration steps conventions, because when it's async, it needs to be suffixed with async, but that was not the issue. It was missing some stuff. Admin dashboard. Okay. It was missing that.
Yeah, it's not really missing anything, but JT's just been compressing all the migrations down so that the first step does everything and everything else from there is a.
Yeah. So it's not missing, it was there. But instead of doing 1, 2, 3, now you do everything and you return 3. Okay. Yeah, would be good for 1.0. So removing this file, fix project templates, you see, again, fix links to drivers in NEMS, themes documentation. Okay. And a new update. Yeah, we still need to update the verrier. So when there is a new SDK, usually there is a new runtime. There are new runtimes. XPL core and the core app. But putting a star here would be kind of bad because it will try to resolve on NuGet.org every time. I don't know how often, but yeah, that's the only issue. Okay, good. That's it. Thanks everyone for the changes. Questions, comments? So now to the topics. Topics, demos, Antoine. Demos, Antoine.
Yeah, let me share my screen. So almost the same demos than last week, but it should be working today. So the first one was about being able to add a new widget, and the links were missing, or the URL. You see the URL is working now because there was an extra space between the double quote and the beginning and the name of the area. So it should be working now. You can add a new widget. That's it about the admin dashboard. About the SEO module, instead of using Liquid, we are now using Shortcodes, and I added this modal button in every input needing to in which you can use a shortcode.
Did you ask him?
Yeah.
Did you ask? Did he ask? Or is he lying?
Well, no, I told him he needed to.
Why the padding is wrong? The padding should be padded a little bit more down because I assume it should be the same space on the right and the top of this icon. You know what I mean? Little details.
You can blame me for that one.
It's almost better now. So what did you do then? Why did you break it?
You can see the top -5 pixels.
You knew about that.
But I like my 5 pixels.
Why? So I vote for this way. Who votes for the other way?
Yeah, I prefer without those two margins and the top.
I don't even know where those two came from.
Okay.
That's probably because it's not working. It's not displaying the same in Firefox. So yeah, these are
so we need
patches.
to test cross browsers first before seeing anything. We need to check. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's also broken when you go down. You saw the image there. It's missing some meat. Yeah. Okay. Darling. See, overflowing. We need some. There's a bug here.
Yeah.
Bugs everywhere. Okay. Good.
So that's it for the SEO module. And today I started. So you can see that if you are using display text, the display text shortcode, it will use the title. The title in the description, it will use the title of the current content. And today I try to use the same code as than the create and edit template. So to put the buttons, the actions buttons at the top with a sticky toolbar. So when you edit this flow page, you can see there is a form, and you scroll, you have the toolbar and the buttons at the top. So you are seeing them all the time. You don't have to do your changing and scroll to the bottom to publish your content.
Can we see in the menu and the widgets section if it's working?
So I only have 2 items in the menu, so.
But you can resize your screen.
Yeah, you can resize the screen.
Yeah. From the bottom.
for the menu and for the widgets. So this is a form widget. I can expand, and you can see at the top it's a sticky toolbar.
Yeah, it looks like working.
I wonder what it would look like with the title on the inside that bar where it says.
Then isn't it the same to having a single row and have the buttons on the right zone?
That's exactly what it would be,
But
also sticky.
Yeah, meaning that we could have on all pages where there is a title right now, a custom bar where there is a title zone and the action zone, and that would be sticky. So that would be the toolbar.
Yeah, but you can also check the option to
then
display the title in the top bar.
And this could move everything in the top bar, including the buttons. And that might be easier in this case, actually, because if it was a zone called toolbar, then you can just move the toolbar zone inside the top zone.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take all the actions also with you.
Mm-hmm.
If it was me, I would get rid of the setting for put the title in the top bar and just always put the title in the top bar with the buttons.
With the buttons. So it's like
Buttons
the mega
right.
toolbar.
Yeah.
Can we call it a ribbon?
Could call it a ribbon.
And then we can and then can we hide the ribbon? Okay. Maybe something to try. I don't remember what we said when we talked about this setting, to have everything in the top toolbar or keep it in the main content. The actions themselves, does it make it weird to have the top actions in the top toolbar? I don't know. Is it better? How will that work when you resize everything?
And we need to decide on which pages we are using it. You see, for example, this one, there is a top button and bottom.
That's different. We can always say, like, this is a fixed zone. In this case, it will be a fixed zone. So it's just about deciding that, oh, some buttons need to move there, and then you'll move there, but it won't break anything if there is a new zone somewhere. It's just then after we can go over each screen and move them to the top actions in the top toolbar if we want. I'm still not convinced we should do that. I'd like to see how it looks like when we have buttons at the top like this, because I'm not sure it's intuitive. It might be good for the save cancel, for instance. I don't know. Or it can be repeated also at the top. I don't know. We have to see. I'm not opposed to the title in the main top thing. If you resize, though, there might be we need to also to check for the small screens how it looks like. Well, how it looks like and how we want it to look like. Like if you go smaller, still go smaller, like a phone. So the question is, go to the font size. You're not to the font size there yet. Now you have the font size. So you see the buttons. Where should they appear when we are in this mode? Because the title might fit, but we also need some ellipses. Not sure.
Yeah.
Well, we can say, well, in this case, the actions zone will go under. Okay, fine. And yes, and still sticky, so you can still scroll down and click on these buttons. But yeah. But Dean, feel free to provide few samples so that I'm sure it should not be too much work to have something moved in the top toolbar and to see how it look like.
Yeah, I really like the idea of having them, like Antoine's done, sticky end at the top at least on the right, because I get cramp scrolling up and down pages looking for the save button at the moment. So it looks good to me. Conceptually, that action bar is a little bit odd with having nothing on the left hand there, but I don't have a perfect solution for solving that either. And there will be pages where the publish buttons, where that bar fills up more, and on different screens that it'll be a different size as well.
Well, we can make them the same size.
How about if we had an icon there on the left side that could be when you pass your mouse on top of it would show the title of the page, something visual that you could just use that would work also if we're in these mobile sizes, which will remove also the title there on top of that bar.
No, you can have it on the top. There is space for title. It can be smaller, by the way. Today we don't make it smaller, but maybe it should be smaller on small screens, the title.
I need to look how GitHub does that, but I think they're just removing items from a bar when there's not enough size, not enough.
Okay, yeah. If you can send us some screenshot and an issue to show how it looks like on different websites, and if it's then this way we can try it and see how it looks like to give an opinion.
Definitely an improvement on what we have though. So good job.
Yep.
Wow. It's already ape-sized, beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then when you hover it, is there a full title?
No.
Well, why? It's a title property, so yes, it would work. There is a title property.
On mobile.
Okay. Okay, job. Thank you. That it?
Yeah.
Good. Thanks. Dean. Oh, no, not Dean. Can you go back, Antoine, to your dashboard screen, please? Dashboard.
Yeah, dashboard.
Because Janice is here. Mm-hmm. Janice filed an issue asking, could we? So today, it was decided by design, after lots of thoughts, that we wanted to drag and drop widgets with a flow, a left to right flow, meaning you can't add anything. You have to add something after existing widgets. You can't add it on the next line. So if you drag and drop a new widget, it will be on the right of the orchard core widget right now. Mm-hmm. And if you add one more, then it will be on the next line. Okay, so left to right flow, I don't know, stacks on the left to right. That must be a good name for that. What we said we would not do is be able to drag and drop something somewhere else in the page, like at the bottom right. And I'm not just even talking about the second line, but maybe if you can do that, you can do the 10th line, like you could scroll down super low and set a new widget. So we can't do that today. And there are two reasons. First, it will require to have a predefined height of the page. Today we don't, we just stack them on the left and the page will increase. And the second reason is that for the responsive, to be responsive, it's much easier because so can you put, 2 times 2. Okay, and good. And now resize your screen just to go on the phone size, just to see what's happening. I don't remember. So in this case, it's taking this. That's interesting. So what's the rule here? Why is there a space here? Can you add widgets there of 1? Is it still 6?
I cannot because I'm not on the correct branch. Okay, yes, maybe.
If you had one of space of 1. Okay, it's weird that it's added there. It looks like there is a bug here. Okay, but put the 1 on the right after welcome. Okay, and resize to a font size. So we have 3 to 1. The 3 takes the full size. The 2 takes, so it looks like now it's split in 3 columns. So I don't know what decided that, if it's the default classes that we put on these widgets. It doesn't look bad to me. Can you go down even more in the size of the window? If you resize the window smaller, like a phone size. No, the width. The width. I don't care about the height. I'm just talking about the width.
Oh.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I don't understand. So it's still 1. I will not go with the 1, 2. I will go at that point. Any widget takes the full width. I'm not sure. We have to talk about it. Or at least some of them take. Yeah, I don't. It's messed up here. So we need to define.
Yeah, but by the time you get to font size, they should all just go full width.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's been set, otherwise they're just unreadable.
Yeah. So you see, there are already some issues. Now, if we had to have custom positioning, like absolute positioning and relative positioning, like I want to put, like if I am in a big screen, I want to put it on the bottom right. First, we have to define the page width, and then we will need to be able to customize the layout for each viewport. Because if you put your thing on the bottom right, how does it look like when you have just font size? Or if you put 2 blank lines, what does it look like on a phone? Do we also put blank lines and then you don't see there is something at the bottom? So that's why, Janice, I'm not super keen of changing that. I can see that some people who might want to have something sticky in their page, but it doesn't work when you go back to a phone. And we want to support that scenario. So that's my concern. At least for now, we should not take it.
We can have header and footer zones. Sticky or whatever.
We enter the same issue. Well, then 2 zones, and then what do we do when someone asks for a third one? Header, footer, right, left, and now it's the layout module. But we have to deal when there is nothing. See, we have the same issue with we have the same issue in Orchard 1 with the layout. How do you configure it per viewport? You need then to be able to configure it per viewport, and we don't do that in Orchard 1. And that's why in Orchard Core we need the flow module. Same thing, because it's a flow. We don't have to care about responsiveness. An option would be to be able to switch what kind of dashboard you have, like a responsive one or a fixed one. That would be an option. Same way we have layouts, we could have like a fluid layout or a fixed layout. But it will also change the properties to store the position, not just the length like we do today. Well, today we store the length and the position, but in terms of relative order. Like I'm the 3rd, 4th, and then I have a width, but there is no XY coordinates. It's just position and order. Another option would be to have widgets that are blank, like you can inject a blank widget. Maybe that would work, and that will remain also blank in the. Try that. Try to create like technical widgets that will display nothing, be blank when they're rendered. So they are not like dynamic widgets like we do today, but they have to be technical ones with the module. that can define the size, and then that can have custom behavior when they are on a small viewport. This way they can say, oh, I want still to take one line, or I want to be hidden completely in a small viewport, so it will be stacked. That might be a solution. This way we can add new lines, a new line widget, or a blank widget, and then in the UI they won't appear unless in edit mode. You want to try that, Janice? On a PR, that might be a solution to add fake widgets, like placeholders. Placeholder widget, a placeholder widget where you can define the size and the behavior when it's resized in the phone mode. That might solve everything. Okay, thank you, Antoine. I just want to talk about it while seeing that. Dean. Kick him out.
Yeah, cool. Let me share a screen. Yeah, let me know when you can see the screen here.
Always better on your screen. Mac.
You know, we won't have the Mac versus PC discussion, but we could. So just been doing a bit of stuff with users recently and adding a few new features to it. So adding some filters to them to allow you to, well, we already had search, but now you can do sort by email or name, display enabled, and if I disable one, that would make more sense, wouldn't it? So we wipe out the disabled guy, or we see only the disabled guy. But the one that's particularly useful for me is roles. So you can now filter on particular roles, which is really useful when you're managing a lot of kind of front-end users and you just want to work with them. Or you can get all the administrators, or you can get people that are in no roles, which is kind of the equivalent of the authenticated role, but it's not a role that's kind of seen in visual in the database. And they're extendable as well, so you can write your own driver if you've got your own indexes for custom properties that you're adding to the user object. You can add them into the filters bar here, so that in the same way that on the contents list we can add custom ones in for taxonomies and cultures and all the other bits and pieces that you might want to filter your users on. So that's it. Nice quick demo.
Feature request.
Yes.
Feature request, the best feature ever. I'm kind of happy with some ideas I have. So the idea here is bin, build a parser. And you know how to build a parser, I know. Build a parser that will parse the same format as GitHub issue search text box, which is free text plus metadata like tag colon foo, roles colon bar, minus plus, things like this, that you can type in the search box you have here right now, and that is model binded directly with the drop downs you have on the right, and that you also pass at the top here as in the search. Instead of the different metadata options at the top, you could pass directly the search text, and it will be parsed into this metadata that you have and bound to your dropdowns in a bidirectional way. So when you change the dropdown, it changes the text in the text box, and you can copy paste that as a link like GitHub actually. And you make a reusable parser because then we want that in every page where we have a search with order
so
and
like when you go to issues here and you start filtering here.
Yes. And then it changes the search, you see? And the same way, if you change the search, it changes the URL and it changes the dropdown and everything. So it's like it's bound. The URL, the search text box, and the UI is bound, so you can independently change the three of them, share the link, and use the same language everywhere in every screen. They will have different
reasonable feature request.
They will have a different set of tags of metadata. Like here it's is and issues and author. Like on users, it would be roles, user, disabled or enabled. But maybe on with items, it might be published with a full text also, and then, I don't know, sort by, things like this. Might be interesting.
Yeah, I guess we just want to take some of the options names here and crunch them in terms of to come up with the right kind of syntax, you know.
Yeah, if we had a reusable parser in this case, in every controller that expects some sorting and filtering, we could just say, hey, parse this format and give me the property named sort and give me the property name that and so on. So the same way I would do today with enums, but it should be just strings. That's it. We could just, if we could even say parse this property as this enum, and you will get the order by all the field, the published slash draft slash wire that we have today in the enums.
Yeah, would make a lot of sense. And get us to the point where we could possibly start using Lucene in here, which would be.
Yeah, I'm not sure we want to do that because we don't want to Lucenize everything and then distribute it. It might be an issue to depend on that, to have that dependent. Because here it works today, we don't have Lucene there. We just do, you know, like we said, the full text is based on the name of the users, and that's good. I mean, if you want to, we can say that this screen here, when we send a full text, it will use Lucene because the parser slash binding doesn't care about what you do with the text. It just gives you a search for about, okay? And then if you want to do a Lucene search, you can. If you want to do a text search, you can.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, something like that would only be an option. Sounds like a reasonable feature request. I shall see about putting it.
It's a fun one. It's one that we like to implement.
Cool. There was one other fun one with this one actually, which I was. So this is an interesting thing because we have a reduce index for the user by role, which is so it maintains a count of the role name and the number of people that are in the role. But for people that are in no roles, there's no records in the database in that reduce index table for them. So it's an interesting trick to be able to filter on that.
But we could, no, don't we? If we index that, can't we index a no role?
Well, no, because no roles is the absence of roles. Like there's no button that I can click here with the.
But when we index, I mean.
So potentially when we index, we could have done something like that, but we don't currently. And I didn't want to try and introduce another index. So we actually do a little bit of custom SQL here. We're able to use a subselect at the end of things to say that if the user isn't in a role, do the join on this reduce index table and see that the join doesn't work, essentially.
If you update the existing index, won't it be updated when you save the user, for instance?
But what would I put in the index?
Index, current index.
Because there's no way to record the absence of something in an index.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
I mean,
can you open the index? Index provider.
Not helpful.
Here, map user by role index. What do you get here? You get a user, okay? So you can get its roles. And
yeah,
when
so
there is
role names there.
Okay, and here is select new user role name index, blah blah blah. User by role name index, role name here, role name normalized. So there is no role, that's what you say, because the select is empty. So here, user.rolenames.select map you need to check if user.rolenames equals 0, you return something. Otherwise, you return that. And the role name you can so you can put no role, and that works. I'm right. We can do that.
Yeah, no, that could work. It does mean changing the behavior of what's actually in the index.
Yeah, I mean, it will add a new record automatically. The next time you save a user that doesn't have a role, it will update the index for this user. If you want to be thorough with the migration, you need to save every user in the database, or you just say, well, this feature doesn't work for you if you have all the users until they are saved, and then you will be able to filter by them.
Yeah, I think the second option is probably better there.
Okay, so just to know that we can do that, we can index on
so we can do that,
things. Thank you.
That's good. I like my little solution here. Cool.
Thank you. My turn. Then share content. Topic PT Pacific time just for us. So I think I'm almost sure. PST, PDT. When did it change? Can someone confirm it's next Sunday? I don't want to say. When do we know? Next change. Current. Next change.
March 14th.
Good. So next, thank you. What happens? What happens?
The US is switching to DST next weekend.
Oh, it's there. It's there. Oh, March 8th.
And 2021.
After it will be UTC -7, so it will be 1 hour more for us. So you will have to. So the meeting will be 1 hour early for Europe.
During the next 2 weeks.
During the next 2 weeks. Okay. So during the next 2 weeks, the meeting in Europe will be 1 hour before, because here we'll advance 1 hour. We'll advance 1 hour. Okay. Why does it say? Oh, okay. 2020, 2021, 2021 is March 14 and +1. Okay. At 2 a.m. it will be 3 a.m. So yeah, that's it. Okay, agreed.
Mm-hmm. And on March 13th, it will be the same. Back to the same.
The March what? 30. Okay.
Le 30.
Okay. So, good. Which is on a weekend also. Then you will remind us. Okay, yeah. That will be your job. Unless I'm clever like this. And I say 3, 9.
You make a tweet.
3, 9 + 7, 16 + 7, 23. So you change on the 30. It's a Tuesday. I don't get it. Wrong. Okay, I won't forget.
And next week is the 16th.
Yeah, and then after it's 23. But we don't say anything next week because the change will happen, say, on the 30, which I think is wrong. But okay, we'll see. Good. No new updates on anything. I worked on the free2 branch a little. We found some issues with Jasmin. So please test the branch. Oh, give me a few hours or one day to test the branch. I found an issue with Jasmin. I found an issue with the pagers I need to fix. And I want to implement the time zone management correctly. Like, what is it? Here. like somewhere. Somewhere. Good time zone management. Whatever. Questions, comments? Chats. Oh, I was not at the bottom. Oh.
Yeah, we can't share images there. I wanted to share the GitHub page that I made, but I couldn't.
Okay, we'll look at it. You can share, you can create an issue or comment on the issue. Well, no, we need to create a new issue and share screenshots, videos, and stuff like that to show, and not just GitHub and other applications that have good ideas that you think are interesting to copy.
Yeah, there's a PR I think Antoine is working on, so I'll paste. I had it there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All good. Thanks, everyone. See you on Tuesday for the meeting, and next, on Thursday for the meeting, and next Tuesday, 1 hour earlier for Europe and the same time for America. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.